So welcome friends. Today is our the lecture series on hydrology, the flood routing part 2. In a previous lecture, we have discussed about some aspect of the flood routing, that is the introduction of the flood routing, and a descriptive lecture on the storage routing. And we have also discussed that there are two types of the routing, the storage routing and the extreme flood routing. So today we will discuss on the some aspect of the extreme flood routing. So, in a channel routing, same as in the case of the river routing, the channel routing, the basic methodology is knowing the inflow at the certain point and evaluate the output at the some other point. That is the knowing the flood hydrograph for the particular point of the channel, and by using the different parameters, that is the hydrological as well as the channel parameters, we can evaluate the outflow hydrograph at the some other point. In order to estimate these type of in order to estimate these types of the data, the channel routing method is used. So what's the definition? The stream channel routing is the mathematical relationship to calculate the outflow from a certain channel once the inflow, lateral contributors, and the channel characteristics are the known. We also know that for a particular channel, there are lots of the lateral contributors, that is the tributaries, and in order to calculate the outflow, we have to consider that these tributaries and that is the flow and the resistance from these type of the tributaries and the contributaries also. The basic mathematical relationship for the extreme flood routings is based on a Saint-Venant equation, that is as shown in a slide. That is the first equation is the change of the inflow, sorry, change of outflow with respect to the location, and the change of the inflow with respect to the time is equal to 0. And the second equation is based on a continuity equation as well as the mass balance equation, as we had discussed in the storage flood routing. Okay, so all the parameters are same. We have already classified the flood routing as the lumped routing model and a distributed routing model. In a lumped routing model, the outflow is the function of the location. That is, the outflow is evaluated for the particular location. But for the distributed routing models, we evaluate the outflow for any other location with respect to the time also. Okay, so in a distributed routing model, it is much more complicated as compared to the lump routing model. But in a distributed routing model, we can calculate the outflow for different locations at different time intervals. Okay. We have discussed about the reservoir routing. The stream channel routing can be determined by using the two equations, that is the Muskingum method and the test segment routing method. So the most popular method is the Muskingum method. So Muskingum method considered that there is a channel in which I is the inflow, okay, and the Q is the outflow. So this is the I inflow and this is the Q outflow. If we consider a channel having a sloping surface, that is a slopy longitudinal slope, then we can divide the whole channel into the two portions. That is the prism storage section and the waste storage section. We can say in a particular channel, that is a channel maintain a constant level of the water, that is the storage, okay, which goes as an outflow when it is discharges on the some other stream, and it having a some slopy surface which have the slope or which flatten at the ends of the channel. Actually, this is not an assumption, but it's true for the major stream channels, because in a large stream channel whose longitudinal length are very large, so there is some type of wedge which are actually stream maintain some type of wedge, okay, and it has to be considered by analysis type of techniques. So it assumes that the storage in a channel is dependent both in an inflow and outflow. And if we consider the channel section is like this, so we can say that it has a prism, okay. So it is known as the prism storage, and the top surface has a longitudinal slope, so it is known as the wedge storage surface, okay. So In a Muskingum method, the total storage will be the wedge storage and the prism storage. Okay. Muskingum said that the prism storage will be the function of the Q, that is the outflow, and the wedge storage will be the function of the inflow. Okay, because we assume that the water which is goes as a storage, as a part of the inflow, will also discharge as an outflow. Okay, and the part of the water in a wedge storage first goes as a storage, then it is goes into the other stream as an outflow. So the Muskingum said that the Muskingum elaborated that the total storage will be the sum constant, that is the K, uh, which is also known as the time constant. Sorry, the K is also known as the storage time constant, and N is the exponent, and X is the weightage. Okay, value of the X is varies from 0 to 0.5, and the value of the exponent m will be different for the different types of the equation. Okay, so applying for the 2 points, that is taking as a delta is a time interval, that is calculate the storage S1 and S2, I1 and I2, and Q1 and Q2 for a time interval of delta. So we can rearrange the equation by using the above two equation. The Q2 is the unknown quantity. So we can rearrange the equation, and finally we will get equation of the Muskingum, that is C0 I2, C1 I1, and C2 Q1, where the C0, C1, and C2 are the constant whose values are this. Okay, so it has a condition that we have a value of the K and X parameter. We have discussed that the K is the time constant and X is the weightage factor. Okay, so by applying this equation, we can calculate the Q2 for various time interval del T. Okay, so we can construct a hydrograph for the Q versus T for the various time of interval, the T in abscissa and ordinate, and Q in an abscissa. Okay. However, there are two types of condition on this Muskingum method, that it assumes that we have the value of the K and X parameter, which can be determined by using the calibrator. But the question is arises when we don't have the values. We don't have the values of the parameters, that is the K and X, that we will discuss on our next slide. The second method is the trace segment method. The method is same. Sorry. The trace segment method is same, but it determines the for the different types of the segment. Okay, this method is particularly used when we want to determine the attenuation, that is the change of the peak of the inflow and outflow hydrograph, and we want to calculate the lag time. Okay, this equation assumes that we apply this theory on a particular portion when there is a peak or the attenuation is occurs within the channel. So we apply the techniques for the particular portion, and we analyze the equation and analyze the whole stream and calculate the attenuation and the time lags only. Okay, this equation, this technique doesn't apply on the simple flood routing model. When we are evaluating the outflow flood hydrograph, we are only use this equation for the determination of the attenuation and the time lag. Okay. So all the parameters are same as we have discussed in the Muskingum method equation. However, this equation is not commonly used. Usually, the Muskingum method is used. So we have discussed that in a Muskingum method, the question is arises when we don't have the value of the X and K. Okay. So we have two methods for determining the parameters value of the X and K. These are the graphical and numerical methods. So in a first condition, in the first method, we can say that we have the outflow hydrograph and the inflow hydrograph. Okay, that is we have evaluated, we have the inflow hydrograph and we have evaluated the outflow hydrograph. there is a coinciding point between the T2 hydrograph where the value of I and Q is equal to 0. Sorry, I is equal to Q. That is the inflow is equal to outflow. So by taking the values of I equal to Q on this equation, we can finally have equation like this for the determination of the X. Okay. So determine the slope of the outflow hydrograph for a particular time t, and determining the slope of the inflow hydrograph for the particular time t. And by putting the value on this equation, we can determine or we can evaluate the value of the x. Once we have the value of the x, then put the value on this equation to determine the value of the k. We have all the parameters for the S1 and for S2. For the both the types of equation, we can calculate the value of the k. This is the much more simple equation. However, this is the graphical equation, graphical methodology, and it requires the precise measurement of the slopes for the inflow and outflow hydrograph. Okay, but the only condition is that we must have the inflow hydrograph as well as the outflow hydrograph, and we have to solve the whole equation graphically. In the second method, however, this method is also simple. In this methodology, sorry. So, in this methodology, however, this also requires the precise measurement of the slopes of the equation. In this method, we construct a graph between that is we have the equation that is we have the equation that is the I that is x equal to k x I plus 1 minus x q, that is the sum weightage of the inflow and the sum weightage of the outflow multiplied by the constant is equal to the storage. If we construct a graph between the storage versus x 1 minus x multiplied by the q, that is the sum weightage of the inflow and the sum weightage of the outflow, considering the value of the k as a constant. Okay, and we calculate this equation. We construct a graph for the various value of the x. So for an example, we have constructed a graph for the three types of three values of the x, that is 0.1, 0.2, and 0.25. 0.1, 0.2, and 0.25. Okay, and analyze the slope of the curve. Okay, so the equation or the value of x, which gives nearly the straight line, which gives the nearly straight line for such type of the graph, we can say that the precise value or the correct value for the x. And for this x, if we put the value of the x on this equation, we can calculate the value of the k. So this is the second method. However, this method is also very simple. Both the methods are simple and require a precise measurement of the slope, and the graphical methods as well as the numerical method. And the equation and the method require tabular and tabular type of the analysis. For the multiple values of the x, we construct the graph, and the value of the x which will give the perfectly the straight line will be the correct value of the x, and for that value we can calculate the value of the k. So this is the end of the lecture. I have discussed that I have published the three papers. Sorry, and if you have any interest on this paper, just go through it. These papers have published in the International Journal of the Agriculture Engineering, April 2020 edition, and also considered citation. Thanks a lot.